Well, greetings and salutations, everybody, and happy Friday. Welcome to this installment of the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
By not your host, Ray Ora.
Jonathan Voico.
Hey, guys. It's...
Come on, man.
But most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Our final show before we head off to CinemaCon. We're heading out to Vegas this weekend for CinemaCon, the biggest event of the movie calendar. I mean, other than the Oscars, obviously, but really excited about that. We're going to talk about CinemaCon a little bit later on, but here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, well, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or issue you'd like us to discuss, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed, go ahead and send it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the good news about that tip link. It's good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So maybe you're not watching the show live right now and can't get a question in for us to address on this show. But if you're listening to this show later on in the day, either on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you're watching this video a little bit later today, or maybe even over the weekend, you can still use this tip link to send in a question. And if you send one in when we're not actually live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. With that all down, let's get things started with this. Few movies opened up this weekend. I didn't get a chance to see as many of them as I wanted to because getting ready for CinemaCon and all that kind of stuff, but I did have time to get out to see one of the new ones. I went out to go see the new Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega film, Death of a Unicorn. Now, they have not done a big marketing push for this movie. I expect it's not going to do well. And I saw some early reviews for it, and they were mixed. Like, I think it was just a little over, it was at 56% when I saw it. So just a little more than half the critics like it. About half the critics didn't like it. I thought the trailer was really good, and I love Paul Rudd. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go give this thing a chance. So I went, and I did put up a straight out of the theater reaction to it that some of you may have seen. And I got to tell you, I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't wonderful. Like, it wasn't as good as kind of the trailers made me think it would be.
Sure.
But it was a fun time. Now, let me talk about some of the negative stuff first. Number one, it's predictable. Movie's predictable. There's this one time that I won't give any details, I'll just give you generality. Somebody's got their ear up to the wall, and I could literally hear the guy sitting beside me turn to his wife and say, "She's about to get stabbed with a unicorn horn, watch." and then sure enough, 3 seconds later, it's a predictable film. You can telegraph from a mile away, like, everything that's going to happen. That's one of the big drawbacks. And probably one of the main reasons that some of the critics didn't like the film. And I totally understand that. I get it. The other negative thing about it, CGI is not good.
No.
Not good. I think there were moments they used like physical puppetry things. And in those, like when things were standing really still, and I think in those moments it might have looked okay, but the CGI was not wonderful. Let's just say it was not great. I mean, look, it was good enough.
Right.
You know, you're looking at a unicorn. Okay. Does it look like a photorealistic unicorn? It's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's not a real unicorn. No, but it didn't take away from the film. So yeah, pretty terrible stuff there. But aside from those two things, the predictableness of the film and kind of 2016 CGI on the unicorns themselves, a fun little movie. Listen, first of all, the performances by all the leads were great. I thought Paul Rudd, very predictable, is always wonderful. Jenna Ortega was really good. I totally forgot Tia Leone was in this. Richard E. Grant, one of Rob's favorite actors. He was fantastic. But, also, I keep forgetting the name of the bald actor.
Oh, yeah, and he's in that TV show.
He's in, well, first of all, he was Victor Zsasz in Gotham.
Right.
And then he was just in that comedy about the
The hitman, but
the
I can't
former
think
hitman who's now an actor, and I'm forgetting the name of the film.
his name. His name is the
Yeah, at any rate. So he plays like the butler to the rich family in it, and he's quite wonderful in it.
yeah.
There's guys in the live chat are saying his name's
Barry.
Anthony Carrigan.
Yeah, and Barry was the
And
show.
Barry was the name of the show. Yeah, Anthony Carrigan is in this. I had no idea he was in it. And yeah, he fit right in with that power. But. The movie was stole by Will Poulter.
Yeah.
Will Poulter steals the movie,
I
man.
felt like that even from the trailer.
Listen, I'll tell you what. Every time I see this guy, we always go, why isn't he bigger than he is? Right? Like we always see him in something and he's wonderful. And we all go, man, why doesn't he get like more lead stuff?
Right.
And then we forget about it. And then he comes out. I'll tell you what, he's acting alongside like a comedic legend on screen like Paul Rudd. And man, this guy has such insanely good comedic timing. It's absolutely nuts how good this guy's comedic timing is. And his character was just wonderful throughout the whole thing. Every time he's on screen, his dynamic with his parents, his dynamic with Paul Rudd, his dynamic with Jenna Ortega, his dynamic with Anthony, what would we say his name again was? Carrigan.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of steals the movie in a supporting role. He's great. And listen, some of it's pretty thrilling. Some of it's pretty exciting. Some of it has some legit horror tones to it. There was this one moment though, and I'm going to give this part away because it's not a part of how the movie ends or anything, but this part was terrible. So there's a moment in the film about halfway through. Jenna Ortega and everybody realize they have a unicorn, right? And so she decides like why did this unicorn do this? And why did this? Like she's got all these questions, right? So she just happens to stumble across an audio file on the internet that fully explains everything.
Perfect.
Unicorns were said to do this. They can only be tamed by this. They can be captured by doing this, but then they can be destroyed by doing this. And this is what they do. Like she just, it was like worse than an exposition dump. It was a manufactured exposition dump. It's like, I don't know what's going on with this mystery of the unicorn. I'll just Google it. And I just happened to find this audio file that explains everything. It was like, oh, not good, especially for an A24 film.
Yeah.
A24.
Maybe they're going for super cheesy or something, but it just, I don't know.
I don't think they were going for super cheesy. I mean, the best part about the movie is that it's set in Canada. That's the best part about the film. Set in Canada, you automatically get 3 points right there for that. 3 points for Hufflepuff. So anyway, overall, a fun little movie. I had a good time. Is it a fantastic movie? No. Is it one that you must drop your plans this weekend to rush out and see? Nah. But if you do go to see it, I think you're going to have a good time. I had a good time with it. So anyway, there it is. Guys, question is for you. What do you think? Have you had a chance to go out and see Death of a Unicorn yet? If so, what did you think about it? If not, have you been planning on going to see it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. I want to talk about this for a second. We mentioned off the top of the show that, of course, this weekend we leave for Las Vegas. Me, Ray, Rob, and Olympic gold medalist Cody Miller. We're all going to go out and cover. You know, I think Jeff Snyder's going to join us from stuff too while we're out there.
Oh, nice.
But we're all going to be heading out, going to Las Vegas for CinemaCon. And I thought it would be fun. Like, we're going to be doing a lot of live streaming, posting up a lot of videos, all that kind of stuff from CinemaCon as we always do. But I thought I would walk you guys through the schedule of CinemaCon so you got a rough idea about what is coming and when. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about CinemaCon, here's the Coles Notes. Wait, do you call it Coles Notes here?
It's Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes.
Oh, here you
Cliff
can.
Notes.
The real thing in Canada is called Coles Notes.
Right.
Apparently you Americans call it Cliff Notes. So I'll tell you, but here's the Cole/Cliff Notes of CinemaCon. Basically what it is, it's a major convention of movie theater owners. I'm oversimplifying it, but it's basically a big convention of movie theater owners where they could come together every year for 4 days in Vegas. They talk about technology, trends, the business, all that kind of stuff. But as a big part of that, almost every year, just about every studio goes to it and puts on a big presentation, anywhere between an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, showing footage, bringing out the directors and the actors and the stars and all that kind of stuff for the movie theater owners to pump up and promote the films they have coming out over the next 12 months. And it's always a good time. Like, is there a week that goes by that we don't mention? Last April at CinemaCon, they showed us this. Like, they're showing us stuff for movies that are coming out in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months from now. It's amazing. Some full screenings. Sometimes they show us like 15 minutes of footage. Sometimes like 20 minutes of footage for movies that aren't even coming out for like 6 months. And they bring out the directors. Always a blast. So here's the schedule for CinemaCon this year, and so you guys can know when in particular you might want to check it out. Okay, so it officially begins on Monday. Now, we got to be there over the weekend to get everything registered and everything, but it officially begins on Monday. I don't think we're going to be going to the golf tournament. I don't think we're going to be participating in the golf tournament. CinemaCon registration, then there's a panel or stuff with Cinema System Summit. Then there's the Admit One Hospitality Lounge. I always take advantage of that. Then there's the Independent Theater Owners Coalition Program. It's going to take place. We won't be doing that. Refreshing the Future, Navigating Gen Z Trends for Industry Insights for Movie Theaters and Empowering the Next Generation of Cinema. That's being presented by Coca-Cola. We won't be going to that. Although, I don't know, Ray may want to go to it. I don't know.
No, Coca-Cola.
I don't think so. So then at 5:15, Sony Pictures Entertainment and Barco invite you to a pre-event cocktail reception. We'll probably go to that. Because right after that, from 6:30 to 8:45, 2 hours and 15 minutes, Sony Pictures Entertainment kicks things off with an exclusive presentation highlighting its upcoming releases. That is the first big main thing as far as we're concerned for CinemaCon. It's going to be the big Sony presentation. Now, we're probably going to be dropping some little videos here and there throughout the day of the sights and sound, the poster reveals, the new standees, some of the concession stuff, whatever. We'll be putting up little things throughout the day, but then the big main thing, 8:40 or 6:30 to 8:45, a big Sony presentation to be followed by a big after party at Dre's nightclub across the street. We'll probably go to about a half hour of that, and then we're probably going to be live streaming Monday night. Remember, this is West Coast time, probably at around 10:30 p.m. So I know for those of you on the East Coast, that's going to be like, 1:30 in the morning? It's going to be late, but that's what the timing is. So we're probably going to go live at about 10:30 p.m. on Monday nights when we'll go live. Again, a few little videos earlier in the day, but 10:30 p.m. on Monday night is going to be the first major stream that we do. All right, let's move on to the Tuesday. As we go to Tuesday, we'll, of course, be participating in the Continental Breakfast because it's free. And then the Lionsgate presentation from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Lionsgate will be doing a presentation. There are whispers that they might show us Ballerina, the new John Wick film.
Right.
It's possible. I don't know that it's likely, but it's a possibility, I suppose. Should point out that while I am expecting more, as of right now, there's only one confirmed full screening, and that's How to Train Your Dragon. But anyway, let's go. So Lionsgate will be in the morning at ending at 11:30 a.m. We will then probably be doing our live stream covering the Lionsgate panel probably at around 12:15 in the afternoon. Keep your eyes on the channel for when we do that. Then, of course, the CinemaCon trade show happens. Always a lot of cool stuff. Tons of free food. We're probably going to show you some of the things that we see there. And then we've got at 4:30 p.m., Warner Brothers does its 2-hour presentation. Warner Brothers Pictures invites you to The Big Picture, a special presentation of its upcoming slate. Of course, they're going to show us footage of all the Warner Brothers stuff coming, including, I'm expecting James Gunn, David Cornsweet, who's playing Lois Lane? Rachel Brosnan?
Yeah, Brosnan.
Will all probably come out on stage. They'll probably show us 10, 15, 20 minutes of Superman. Expecting that, plus all the other Warner Brothers stuff they've got coming as well. that's going to be there. And then after that, we're going to be going to an after party. And then probably around 8:30 p.m., we will be doing our Warner Brothers live stream. So 2 big live streams that day, the Lionsgate presentation live stream and the Warner Brothers live stream. All right. So that ends up Monday. Now let's go that ends up Tuesday. Now let's go to Wednesday. On Wednesday, again, breakfast, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Angel Studios is doing their presentation. It's a 1-hour presentation. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not planning on going to it. I think if anybody else in the crew wants to go, like if I know Ray has been asking the whole time, when is the Angel Studios presentation?
Yeah.
When is the Angel Studios presentation?
Absolutely.
So one of our crew may go if they want, but we're not going to fully cover that one ourselves. Then at 9:30 a.m., Universal Pictures presents their full screening of the new live action How to Train Your Dragon. We will clearly we're going to rally and do a review of that movie after it's done. I am so excited for this film. I've loved the trailers for this. I think it's going to be awesome. So looking forward to seeing that. So that's going to be at around 11:30 in the morning. That'll end probably around noon. Oh, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. We are going to do a quick out of theater review of it. But we're not going to do a full review live stream of it till later, because then, Ray, at like 12, we've got lunch for my wife's birthday. It's my wife Anne's birthday on that day. So we've got lunch at this fancy restaurant. So we're going to be doing that. Anyway, so then after that, well, what's that, John?
I was just going to say, so just to clarify, they're not showing clips of How to Train.
No, they're showing the full movie. Yeah, it's
okay.
the full movie they're showing us. How to Train Your Dragon. So then the next big thing will be from 3:45 to 5:30 p.m. the Universal presentation. So Universal's giving us the screening earlier in the day, and then we're going to get the full Universal presentation at 3:45 p.m. to 5:30. And there should be an after party. Yeah, there's a big dinner party afterwards. So probably around 7 o'clock that night, we'll be doing our kind of wrap up of the Universal presentation. So that'll be a big one. And then that'll take us into 8:15 p.m. God, you know what? We're not going to be able to do a 7 p.m. stream, because just at 8:15 is the Amazon and MGM Studios presentation. You know what we might have to do? We might have to do the Universal and Amazon together in one big stream at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It's going to be a late night.
Especially if you're going to have to go to dinner and everything, or lunch.
Yeah. It's going to be a late night. So, but yeah, we'll be covering a double fister. We're going to be doing the Universal and Amazon MGM in one big stream. So that'll be a big one. That wraps up Wednesday. That leads us into the final day. That is Thursday. And Thursday, we are going to have, I believe it's Disney's?
Yeah, it's Paramount and Disney.
Right. Paramount at 10 a.m. to 11:30. That's when the big Paramount presentation is. So they're doing a shorter one this year. They're doing an hour and a half. Ray, I know you always like
I love
Paramount's presentations.
Yeah, hopefully that guy didn't get fired.
And then what we'll probably do, I don't think we'll have time to do a live stream of Paramount, because then the Disney one starts at 2:30. So we'll probably have to double up on Paramount and Disney, I'm guessing, to do that. And that'll go till 4:30. And then I don't know if we're going to go to the big screen achievement awards. This year they're honoring Star of the Year Glenn Powell, Distinguished Decade of Achievement Channing Tatum, Action Star of the Year Anna de Armas.
That one's going to be packed then.
CinemaCon Vanguard Award to Lindsay Lohan, Career Achievement in Comedy Cheech and Chong, Next Generation Award David Johnson, Rising Star Madeline McGraw, I don't know who that is off the top of my head, and then Star of Tomorrow Ben Wang. And that will then wrap up CinemaCon, except we'll then probably go to the after party. And that'll wrap up CinemaCon. So this thing is packed. It's going to be a wild time. We're excited about it. You got anything on there, Ray, that you're particularly excited about?
Hopefully the chance of maybe Ballerina playing. if I'm just wondering what if Warner Brothers is going to screen something, what are they going to screen? And Thunderbolts. I'm hoping we get at least a good chunk of Thunderbolts just to see the how the movie's gonna like the theme or like the feeling, like because right now the trailers make it look super serious, but you got like a guy flying in the air.
You think the Thunderbolts trailer
I mean the tone, it's not bright. It's not
it's not bright. No,
as in the coloring, it looks more like the Dark Knight-ish. You know how everything's kind of like
right.
That's what I meant. But yeah, the Thunderbolts looks fun, but I meant like the tone of it seems very
pretty heavy.
Yeah,
people are going to turn to shadows.
I think there's so many jokes and so much humor in the trailer. I don't think it's going to be a dark tone.
Well, that's
the color palette.
You know how some people are broken inside sometimes.
No,
but they come out with a smile on their face.
I actually think it's going to be like that nice James Gunn. Like if you look at Guardians 3, like there's definitely a dark tone to that, but it's not a depressing movie. So I think that's how they're going to, with that light and the cynicalness, the cynicism and all that. Like it'll come through comedy. You know, because you got people being turned to shadows, for goodness sake.
And a lot of the stuff is not even movie related. I want to see what they talk about, how the movie theater stuff has changed and what they're going to try to.
Well, there'll be other panels for that if you decide to go to those other.
Yeah, what they're going to try to do in order to combat. No. Usually the first guy, the CinemaCon guy, the main guy who comes out at first.
Yeah, during the intro,
he usually kind of brushes over.
Like yeah,
I wonder if he'll acknowledge anything like any of.
They always do every year.
Okay.
Yeah, they do every year. So I'm not really surprised about that. Now, there are gaps in the schedule. When you go through the schedule, you see there are gaps. Those gaps are probably there for surprise screenings. Again, nothing guarantees we're going to get more screenings other than How to Train Your Dragon. That might be it. But every year there's been at least one or two surprise ones. So we'll see if there are this year, and if so, which ones they are. So guys, keep your guys' eyes open for it. And what are you excited about? I mean, listen, forget the full screenings. I'm just excited to get our first 10, 15, 20, 30-minute looks at a whole bunch of different movies that I'm excited about. So definitely make sure you're following us next week. It's not going to be our regular schedule, obviously. We're going to have a lot of content coming. So keep your guys' eyes open for us next week. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? So the other day at Share Watch, also known as the Avengers Doomsday cast reveal thing.
Yeah.
There were a couple of like really interesting surprises. One of them, obviously, Alan Cumming coming back as Nightcrawler. At least we assume it's going to be Nightcrawler. Channing Tatum was a very pleasant surprise, about to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
But one of the names that was quite surprising for a lot of people for different reasons was Tenoch Huerta, who of course played Namor, or Namor, as they pronounced it in Black Panther, was coming back to play Namor again. Now, I like the character, but as like some headlines, you probably saw a number of these writing, Tenoch Huerta joins Avengers Doomsday and it's completely unexpected for many. The reason a lot of people were unexpected, and some other headlines are a little bit more harsh, basically asking this question: how can Tenoch be in there and Jonathan Majors got kicked out? If you've seen those headlines, and you probably have, if you're wondering, well, wait a minute, why are people comparing Tenoch to Jonathan Majors, is because in 2022 or 2023, one of those 2 years, Tenoch's ex-girlfriend accused him publicly of sexual assault and being a sexual predator. So, and that had some controversy going around. Now, Jonathan Majors also had his own controversy, and that culminated with Jonathan Majors getting kicked out of the MCU and then moving on from him as Kang. So when some people saw Huerta's name pop up, they were like, well, wait a minute. How come Jonathan Majors is out, but this guy gets to stay? And that's it's a fair question to ask. I want to address several reasons why I think Huerta is there and Jonathan Majors is not. Now, I'm not saying that any of the reasons I'm about to address justify anything, make it right, make it wrong. That's up for you to decide. I'm just going to lay out probably what the factors were that went into Huerta being there while Jonathan Majors is not. Okay? So, and you, again, you can debate and argue yourselves amongst the merit of these and whether it justifies anything. That's not what I'm presenting. I'm just presenting what probably some of the reasons are. Whether they're valid or not, you can decide. All right. First reason I want to bring up is this. I honestly believe, and I've said this before, that there was a chance that Jonathan Majors would have been leaving the MCU even without his controversy. And that's not because of him, but rather because Disney knows and Marvel knows they completely botched the Kang storyline. They totally botched the Kang storyline. He had 2 seasons of shows and a feature film and never got on. Never caught on. We literally saw Kang, that's supposed to be the next big bad. And in season 1, Sylvie kills him. In season 2, I can't remember even who kills him in season 2. And then Ant-Man beats him in an Ant-Man movie. Got beat by ants. Got outsmarted by Ant-Man. When we meet Thanos, he's beating the living crap out of the Hulk. They just, and again, none of that is Jonathan Majors' fault. Mm-hmm. But as far as setting up their next big bad, Marvel they ruined it. They completely botched it. And so I would present that there was a possibility they may have just moved on from Kang, whether or not Jonathan Majors had his controversy. I really honestly believe that. I really do. Because Kang had no heat. None. And if you were going to build your Avengers movies, now the what's the words I'm looking for? The source material Kang character is great.
Right.
But they blew his introduction 3 times. So they never once made him feel like this guy is a threat to the Avengers. Never once felt that. And so I don't know that they would have gone into their next big Avengers film using this guy that basically had no smoke. So, and again, that's not Jonathan Majors' fault. That's the MCU's fault. Okay, so there's that. Moving beyond that, there is a major significant difference between the controversy surrounding Huerta and Jonathan Majors. While both of them got accused of something, only one of them actually got charged with something. And that's not just semantics. That is a major, major difference. Anybody can say anything about somebody else. I can come out here and tell you that I saw Jonathan kicking 5 puppies before he came into the studio.
But that's believable. I mean,
that's kind of believable, but you know, I can say that. The question is, does anybody actually look into it? And when they do charges actually get pressed? Now, I am not here to say that Huerta was innocent of anything. I'm not here to say he was guilty of anything. But the fact is, he never got charged with anything. You know, he denied it, as did Jonathan Majors, but nobody actually charged him with anything, let alone got convicted of anything, let alone had any audio recordings of him acknowledging that he did anything wrong coming out. On the other hand, Jonathan Majors did get charged. He was found guilty, albeit of the lesser charges. He got acquitted on the more serious charges, but he did get found guilty on the more lesser charges. And an audio recording of another event, of a previous event, came out where he acknowledged that he choked his girlfriend and threw her against a car. Those are significant differences. There are similarities that there were accusations, but that's where the similarities end. After that, Huerta did not get charged. There's no audio recordings of him doing anything like that. And listen, especially after the Jonathan Majors situation that Disney found itself in, you bet your ass they probably hired the 7 most expensive private investigators in the States to thoroughly vet and investigate Huerta, because what they cannot afford, what Disney cannot afford, is to put this guy in their movie and then things come to light later that totally hijacks their film and side rails their film. And all of a sudden we're talking about the new controversy of Huerta instead of talking about Avengers Doomsday. So while I totally understand people raising an eyebrow going, wait a minute, how come he gets to be in it and come back and the other guy didn't? Again, I am not presenting whether it is right or wrong, fair or unfair. I leave that to you to decide. But I believe the key major differences in the two situations are, one, even though I didn't like Black Panther 2, people generally liked the Namor character. Generally, they got generally favorable responses and came across pretty brutal. Whereas Kang, they blew it. They blew it with Kang. And then secondly, while there were accusations made by somebody, no more accusations came out from other people, something that did happen with Jonathan Majors, unfortunately. And by the way, again, I'm not saying he should have been thrown out of the MCU. Don't misinterpret me. But with Huerta, it ended there. No charges. He was never found guilty of anything. So Marvel has decided to move ahead with it. Was that the right decision for them to do? I don't know. Was it the wrong decision not to let Jonathan Majors come back? I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. But as far as why the one and not the other, that's why I think. Anyway, guys, if you have any thoughts about that, I'd love to hear them. I'm not going to die on this hill. If somebody asks me, why did this guy and not this guy? Here's why I think the reasons are. Right or wrong, fair or unfair, that's what I think. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got to talk about that Zelda live action movie. Somebody asked the other day, is that even still happening? We haven't heard anything about it. It is, and we've actually got a release date. It's coming out in just 2 years. Also, Blade might be alive. What? It sounds like they have still been talking to directors, and there are whispers going around that they may even have a director with a little John Wick pedigree in him. We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. Baseball season is officially here, and if you're not running your game on PrizePicks yet, you are seriously missing out. This is daily fantasy made easy, and it's how I keep every pitch exciting. You see, PrizePicks lets you pick more or less on player projections like strikeouts, RBIs, or hits, and that's it. I just cooked up my lineup for this week. I'm taking Shohei Ohtani for more than 1 home run and Julio Rodriguez for more than 1 stolen base. Whether it's baseball, basketball, or even esports, you can mix and match players from different sports for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. And the app is super intuitive. It takes under 60 seconds to lock in your picks. And here's a little bonus. Every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, where you get select player projections at a discount. More value, more fun. So download the app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Download the app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? The live action Zelda movie. Not only is it still on, they have to already be working on it because we've got a release date. Nintendo has announced that the film has set a March of 2027, again, just 2 years from now, theatrical release from Sony Pictures. We are actually getting it. And I remember it was late 2023, November, December, somewhere around there, where word first came out that Sony and Nintendo had decided that they were going to make a Zelda movie. Now, I think if I remember correctly, guys, at first, they didn't mention if it was going to be animated or live action. And we had a little bit of a debate. Some of us in the room thought it should be animated. I thought it should be live action. But so, either way. And then came word I think it was early 2024, that it was actually going to be live action. and they brought on Wes Ball to direct. Now, he directed the Maze Runner films.
Yeah.
That was really popular with a lot of people.
Yep.
But most importantly to me, he directed that latest Planet of the Apes movie that I thought was quite good. I really liked the last. I don't think it was the best of the Planet of the Apes movies, but I thought it was quite good. And I thought he did a great job on that. And so I got really excited about him doing a Zelda movie. Now, to the point, like I said earlier, not long ago, one of our own viewers wrote in and said, is this thing even still happening? We haven't heard a lot about it. But now they've come out full-fledged, giving us a release date. And I'm stoked. I really am. And I know there are still a lot of people out there, probably even in our own live chat right now, that probably think it should be animated. And I disagree. I think if there's any Nintendo game that is really ripe to be a live action one, it ain't Mario Brothers. They did try that once. But I think this is it. This could have, and I know this gets said about a lot of upcoming films sometimes, but seriously, this could have an amazing Lord of the Rings kind of feel to it. Going into the world of Hyrule and all, like, just, you've got classic iconic villains. You've got Link with your classic hero. I mean, and then you've also got mountains of source material you can draw from. So now I personally think, because of how popular they've been the last couple of years, I think they should go in the direction of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Full disclosure, I've not played Tears of the Kingdom. I've heard it's great. I'm going to pick it up here pretty soon. But I have played Breath of the Wild. It's amazing. Like, they create this vast world with these great, interesting little side characters, an incredible story you can tell. So, or you can go all the way back to some of the original games. I can't remember how many there've been, how many Zelda games there've been.
Quite a few.
Yeah, but I'll say 75,000. There have been 75,000, over under 75,000 Zelda games. But again, I think this has all the potential in the world.
Right.
All the potential in the world. Of the building blocks you have are great. I think they've got a really nice filmmaker involved with it.
This movie's got to have, right at the beginning, just the scope, the big panning shot. You know how they show you before you
Hyrule.
before you enter a Zelda game, that, you know, you see an overview. I can't wait to see how beautiful. I expect this movie to be beautiful. It's got to have that sense of awe. Like, every place has either a mystery or a what are we gonna run into.
Well, listen, if you look at Wes Ball's last movie, that Planet of the Apes movie he did, it was gorgeous. Like, it was beautiful to look at. So I think you're right. I think it's gonna be important for him to be able to bring that to a Zelda movie as well.
I was with you with the live action thing, but I believe that with a lot of Nintendo's IPs, I believe if they did do a Metroid, that should be live action. Star Fox would be incredible live action, I think.
Oh, I don't know if you can do Star Fox.
But
live
man,
action.
that would be great, I think. Though.
That would start getting a little expensive, though.
That'd be expensive.
Real
But
expensive,
imagine
yeah.
a talking fox in like a
But what
X-wing
parts of
sort
it could be live? I mean, that whole thing would practically be animated. Like, what could you do that's actually live action that would be fully CGI in a Star
Like, unless
Fox
you mean
movie?
like mocap, like Planet of the Apes.
Exactly. That's what I have in my head, like a Planet of the Apes, mocap, Star Fox. I think that's just me wishing that Rogue Squadron movie came out.
Well, I mean, yes,
you know what I mean?
but I don't want
Yeah,
to be too far off topic, but yeah, that's true too. So listen, I think the most important thing that's going to come down to for this thing is, who do you cast as Link? Who do you cast as Link?
Paul Walter Hauser.
Paul Walter Hauser's a good one.
I see a lot of great images when I was looking for the thumbnail image.
Of like,
there's one of Timothy Chalamet and Tom Holland that look absolutely perfect, I think.
I was going to bring up, what are some names? Look, the thing about Timothy Chalamet is, and the one thing that might be working against him, I think he might be one of the best actors in the world right now. I think he's the one actor in the world today that has the highest upside. I think his potential ceiling is higher than any other actor in the world today.
yeah.
And I don't think we've ever said this about Timothy Chalamet. He might be a little old for the role.
But
Does he want to do a franchise too? Because you're not doing just one of these. If
I
it's a
bet you he
success.
wouldn't mind.
Well, yeah.
I bet you he wouldn't mind.
you know, looking through if they are going for a younger profile, they're more likely they have a good chance that a lot of these actors actually like the games and play the games. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Timothy Chalamet actually took the role because he's a big fan of playing Legend of Zelda.
But again, I don't know if he'd be again great, one of the greatest actors in the world, but he might be a little bit too old for it.
But man, that would be
the other name that comes to mind for me, and I'm seeing other people in the live chat are seeing it as well. Walker Scoble.
Yeah.
Well, the kid from the Ryan Reynolds movie, The Adam Project.
Yeah.
And now he's the new Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, then he might be a little too young for it. Maybe. Might be a little bit too young for it, perhaps.
I just want to see the height difference between Zelda and Link.
Somebody said LeBron James. I'm down with that.
Oh,
LeBron James is Link.
Okay, Space Link.
Space Link.
The Legend of Jam.
I mean,
The Legend of Jam.
I think she's probably too old.
That Jam.
I think she's probably too old too, but Anya Taylor-Joy would have made a great
Zelda.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
She would.
And she'd be the height, too.
That's
'cause
the
Link
thing
is supposed
about
to be
her,
like
though.
this.
Anya Taylor-Joy has this look.
She actually looks like Zelda.
You do her makeup the right way, you could pass her off as 17.
That's true.
I mean, you could. I mean, I just watched that one she just did. What was it called? The Gorge.
Yeah.
And she seems to be getting younger. Every time I look at her, like every year that passed, she seems to look younger to me. I don't know, but she would be great in that. Now, some people say, well, the only way this is going to work is if you make sure that Link doesn't talk. Of course, Link is going to talk. Of course, you have Link talk. No, he's going to talk, and he should talk. This is a movie. It's not a video game. He should absolutely talk. So there's that. Anyway, a lot of things are going to go into this. I'm excited that the project is still on. I hope they're able to knock this one out of the park. I mean, video game content for 20 years, it was automatic crap. Any video game content that got produced into a movie or TV show, automatic crap. Not anymore. Not with Fallout. Not with the Mario Brothers movie. Not with, what else has been out? Last of Us.
Last of Us.
I mean, we got that God of War show coming, and hopefully, this Zelda thing will turn out to be something really good too. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We now have a Zelda movie release date, and if it's only 2 years away, they're already heavy into pre-production on this thing, coming out in March of 2027, exactly 2 years from now. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? This one is going to be a story that we're going to file under our rumor mill category.
Rumors.
This one's running under the rumor mill. Remember, in the rumor mill, we always ask two questions. How likely do we think the rumor is true? And then the second question is, assuming it's true for the sake of discussion, would we like it? And the rumor today is that John Wick icon Chad Stahelski, who's also, by the way, directing the upcoming, if I'm remembering it correctly, Henry Cavill Highlander movie,
Yes, sir.
is apparently, according to rumors, in line to maybe direct Blade. Now, Chad Stahelski was interviewed a while ago and was asked, hey, if you ever were to do a Marvel, an MCU movie, what would you want to do? Straight up, he said, Blade. Blade is the movie I would want to do. He said, that one
I love
excites
rumors.
me.
I never knew that. He did?
Excites me. Yeah, he did.
Wow.
Said, that's the movie I would like to do.
Okay.
Now, according to reports going around out there, very quietly, shh, we're hunting wabbits.
Oh.
There was very quietly, they had lined up apparently Carrie Joy Fukunaga,
Uh-huh.
who directed the most recent James Bond film, No Time to Die, but he also was the director of the original True Detective that everybody loved. And apparently there was a period of time that they were able to keep it out of the papers. They were able to keep it out of the reports. They were able to keep it off online, that he was kind of lined up. They say the wording is that the script was in his hands for a while. Because remember, the word is the script is finally done. That's what they're saying at any rate. They're saying the script's done. Whether that's true or not, we'll find out. So, okay. The rumor mill is saying that Chad Stahelski, who, by the way, when we look over, here's his directorial thing: John Wick, John Wick 2, John Wick 3, John Wick 4.
Right.
But get this. I've never seen a director with this before. Look what he's got listed under his upcoming: Highlander, Ghost of Tsushima, the live action thing, Black Samurai, Vice City, Rain, Sandman Slim, Rainbow Six, Gangsters. He's literally got 10 movies he's supposed to be directing.
Oh,
he can't do all of them. I'm just gonna go out on a limb right now and say he can't do all of them. All right. So for Chad Stahelski, let's start with the first question. Do we believe in the validity of this report? Well, it could be true. I'm going to lean towards it not being true, or that it won't happen. The reason I lean towards it, this isn't going to happen, and that I don't really believe the report. Again, I'm not saying it's not possible. It is possible. We might find out that it is. But for now, just sitting here, my guess is that it's not. And the main reason is this. Look at this list again. This is all the things he's already got. We already know he's doing Highlander with Henry Cavill, and it ain't just one. They're turning it into that's going to be a franchise. And they've already announced he's going to be doing Ghost of Tsushima. And on top of that, they already announced, remember last year, that he and Keanu Reeves are going to be creating and co-producing a new John Wick series on television. I don't see any place on Chad's dance card that he could fit in doing a Blade movie.
But could money ever change a person's mind or make them switch projects?
Not if contracts are signed.
Okay.
I mean, okay, in theory, let's just play with that for a second. In theory, let's say Marvel really, really wanted Chad Stahelski to be the director of Blade. In theory, they could then go to Lionsgate, and Disney could say, we will cut you, Lionsgate, a check for $10 million if you will let Chad delay doing either Highlander or the John Wick series or Ghost of Tsushima, well, whoever he has his contracts with. Say, we will give you $5 million, $10 million, $20 million if you will allow Chad to push your projects back and come and do this. Theoretically, that could happen if Chad wanted to do it.
Right.
But I mean, I know the Highlander project for Chad has been a deep, passionate project for him for many years already. And we already know, we talked about Henry Cavill's already announced he's already started training for Highlander and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. So look, on the believability, I'm going to say I don't believe it. Again, not saying it's impossible. It could happen, but I'm just not believing it right now. All right, well, let's move on to the second question. Assuming it was true, for the sake of discussion, would I like it? He'd be one of the top 5 names to do it, in my opinion. Going out and getting Chad Stahelski to direct a Blade movie? Are you effing kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Match made in heaven.
It would be great. Again, I'm not going to say the absolute top of the, but I'm saying he would be a top 5 name to come in and get to do that. Would I like it? You're damn right I would love it. I would love it. I think that would be amazing. I think it would be a knock out of the park win for Marvel and Kevin Feige if they could land Chad Stahelski to come in and direct it. I can't imagine many better names for it.
We might even get 4 in a year.
4 in a year. He could be very prolific.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. He's pumped out 4, or has he worked on every John Wick film so
Directed
far?
all of them. I mean, but they didn't put one out every year. But he could do many.
Well, more than Blade has movies, right? Let's get that dump truck of money. Come on, let's do this.
Again, so if it were to happen, I think it would be a stroke of genius. But sorry, I'll put the yuck in the yum. I don't think this is happening. He's just got too much other stuff. He's got too much other stuff. So, yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath for it. So, question is for you guys. What do you think of the newest rumor that Chad Stahelski will be possibly directing Blade? I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm going to hope that it's true because I think it would be amazing. How do you feel? Answer the 2 questions for me. Do you think it's believable? And then number 2, if it were real, would you like it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With all that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick second and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends with a great service over at Kikoff. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Kikoff. Man, time flies, doesn't it? 1 minute, you're reminiscing about your last vacation, and the next, you're thinking about major life goals, like buying a car, getting that dream home. But if your credit isn't where it needs to be, those goals can feel out of reach. And that's where Kikoff comes in, the #1 credit building app in the App Store that makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free to build credit fast. And that's exactly why I love Kikoff. They give you a credit line for just building credit, not for spending. Your on-time payments get reported to the 3 major credit bureaus, helping you improve your credit mix and payment history, 2 of the biggest factors in credit growth. If your credit is under 600, you could see a jump of about 28 points in your first month. No credit check, no hidden fees, no interest, just smart credit building. Building credit can happen faster than you expect with Kikoff. Don't wait. Get your first month for just $1 at getkikoff.com/Campea. That's kickoff without the C. Get 80% off at getkikoff.com/Campea. Must sign up via getkickoff.com/Campea to activate offer. Offer applies to new customers first month only, subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions may apply. Point stat based on Equifax Vantage Score 3.0 changes for Kikoff users starting under 600 who made their first on-time payment between January of 2021 and March of 2024. Payment and credit activity outside Kikoff can have an impact on your credit. Individual results may vary.
So let me read that again.
First question.
And thank you to our sponsors, Kikoff.
And thank you to our sponsors, Kikoff.
Tax says, if you remember in the leaked original story for Avengers 5, that makes me wonder if we were muted at all during the ad. That Major Trey's reported on when it was Kang, Thor was absent from the film. So his name being the first in the new cast announcement makes me wonder what other members got swapped around.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, because it's all depending on the story. Like, if they were putting together, we know they were, like some Avengers films that were going to involve Kang, they had one story. They changed directions. And so you're going to implement and put in whatever characters fit that story. So it's not a matter of, well, let's swap out these characters. It's a matter of, well, this is a new project. This is a new movie. Who do we need in our movie, regardless of who was or wasn't going to be in the previous iteration of it? Now, look, again, they're hinting at that there's going to be more cast announced for this new one, but I think there's going to be a lot of characters that didn't get announced. We talked about this yesterday, that aren't going to be in Doomsday, but will not show up until Secret Wars. By the way, can I throw this out there? When I was pointing out the fact that Benedict Cumberbatch had come out and definitively said he is not going to be in Avengers Doomsday, but that he is going to be in Secret Wars, and his character plays a pretty prominent role in Secret Wars. Now, when we did that, we had a bunch of people write in and say, "Oh no, John, he walked that back. He said he was wrong." I'm like, I never saw him say that in Hollywood Reporter, Variety, and somebody pointed out it came from the Business Insider. So I went and looked at the Business Insider thing, and it even says in the Business Insider article, in the highlights, that the reporter said, "We think he's joking," when he said, "Oh no, I am going to be in Doomsday." Because it said in the article, like, then this is why the Hollywood Reporter and Variety and Deadline never picked it up. He said, oh no, I was joking. I'm not going to be, I am going to be in Doomsday. You should also not listen to anything I say. So, like, even the reporter said, when he said he is going to be in Doomsday, we think he was probably joking. So let's just for now go with what he actually said, which was he's not going to be in Doomsday. He is going to be in Secret Wars. Now, the whole point about that is that if a character like Doctor Strange isn't going to be in the first one, but is coming back in the second one, don't be too surprised that a lot of the big names may also not be in the first one. Like you said, like in the previous iteration, Thor wasn't going to be in the first one. And so we are probably still going to get more names. They are hinting at that. But don't expect all the names, because if Doctor Strange can be held off till the second one, they can definitely hold off a lot of the other ones till the second one too. Oh, we'll see how it actually pans out, though. We don't know. Nobody knows for sure except Kevin Feige, but we'll see how it all pans out. All right, what's next?
Luke says, hi, John and crew. Just to say a big thank you for all your hard work and dedication you put into the show. It's my favorite show on YouTube. P.S. I've just bought the Henry Cavill black suit Superman hot toy from Sideshow, and it looks awesome.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Ann and I were just, and our friend Ryan, we just went to Frankensons. If you don't know what Frankensons in, guys, listen.
It's like a permanent Comic-Con.
It's like a 24-hour, it's an all the time Comic-Con. It's this big, it's the size of a Walmart, and it's just all collectibles. And there are several of the big vendors there that have just hot toys and Sideshow and these giant collectible statues and figures. And man, I go in there and I just drool like a fat kid in a pie shop, man. I just stand there and I drool looking at these amazing figures on display. And they've had that Henry Cavill black suit hot toy as well, man. Problem is that's an expensive hobby to be in. Remember we were talking about the other day? We were talking about collecting Pops.
Yeah.
Funko Pops. One of the reasons I collect Funko Pops is because it's $12.
I actually have
sometimes $8.
I have the black suit Superman. It's actually worth a pop.
Hot toy or pop?
And it's actually worth like a couple $100. But yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. Anyway, okay, let's go on. What's next?
Irving says, hey, John and crew, yesterday the 26th was my birthday.
Oh, happy
Just
birthday.
turned 22. I can confirm I didn't spend 10 hours watching the Marvel live stream. I'm excited that production has begun for Doomsday. I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel is hiding some actors, though.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't doubt that either. That's why I said when we were going over our list of 30 actors we were most surprised weren't announced, we said, I mean, it's possible some of these could still get announced, right? So that's part of that. By the way, I got told, everybody's running around with like, oh my God, the Avengers announcement stream got like 275 million views. Now, I cannot verify this personally. This is why I'm not doing a story about it. We're not putting it in a headline, and I'm not trying to get clicks with it. I got told by somebody over there, you know what they told me the average view time was for that 5.5 hour stream?
I can tell you what mine was, but
14 minutes.
yeah. So they saw one transition and then they were like bounced.
Yeah. Now, I saw somebody else write online today that it was 10. I heard it was longer than I heard it was 14. Now, I cannot verify that. Let me be very clear. Again, not putting it in any headlines, not naming any videos, not trying to get clicks from this. I'm just saying that I got told by somebody over there that the average view time was 14 minutes, which means just about everybody saw that stream was happening, clicked over to check it out, waited around for a few minutes and went, how often are they doing a new name?
Yeah.
And then bounced. That's so you can come out and say 275 million views. Yeah, but nobody stuck around. It was like around 100,000 viewers when it started.
Yeah.
And it was around 100,000 viewers by the time it ended.
And you still got the same amount of information at the end if you just looked at the list of it. The names.
I mean,
So-
that's not good. That's not good. So anyway, onward and upward. What's next?
I don't know, man. Says, hey, crew, long-time listener. Any chance that the next Daredevil episode, Frank has a shave, puts on the skull vest, and finally puts an end to Jigsaw trying to sell me phone service? I already have T-Mobile.
Yeah, because the actor who played Jigsaw, why am I freezing on his name? I love this guy. Yeah, look it up. I'm freezing on his name because he was
from the movie or
No, from Punisher,
from the
Netflix.
Punisher Netflix series.
Okay.
And he does the T-Mobile ads now. And he was in that Blood and Bone series on Netflix that was really good on. I think that was called Blood and Bone, something like that. Something and Bone. No, it's not Tobin Bell. Somebody in the live chat saying Tobin Bell. He does. It's
I-
not Ben Garfield. Come on, guys. Somebody
his-
knows it. Ben Barnes.
Is he even there? Oh, there he
Ben
is.
Barnes.
There he is. Ben Barnes.
Listen, Ben Shadow and Bone. That's right, not Blood and Bone. It was called Shadow and Bone.
Blood and Bone was a Jai White movie, right?
Was it?
Yeah, where
Anyway.
he was like, never mind, go ahead.
So Ben Barnes, who kind of first burst on the scene as Prince Caspian, this is one of those actors that I do not get why he is not a legit A-list superstar. He's a fabulous actor.
I bet we see him in the Harry Potter series.
He would be great in the Harry Potter. I don't
Somewhere
know
in
as
there.
what. I don't know as what, but I would love to see him in that. He is a terrific actor. He always delivers. He's not always in the best stuff, but that's not the actor's fault. He's got a great look. He's suave and I honestly do not know why Ben Barnes is not a legit A-list star. He should be. He's amazing. I love this guy. I love when I see him pop up and stuff. Anyway, moving on. What was the question again? Oh yeah, no. Listen, we do know from set photos that they put out and released that we're gonna get an episode where Daredevil and Punisher are both fighting. They're in the streets, right? And so we know we're gonna get more Frank. Probably like one episode of Frank, maybe two.
Yeah.
But I just don't. Listen. All I know is that I'm loving this Daredevil series so far, man. I am loving it. All right, what's next?
All right, Dwarf for you cases, Chair Watch. If you're going to have Ant-Man and maybe Wasp 2, what about Hank Pym? P.S. for the Chris Evans, if no chair has his name on it, you can make it interesting. The next Chair Watch, they should never do another next Chair Watch. The last chair has a question mark on it, not knowing who it could be.
Well, just
then what's
because
the
you have
point?
Ant-Man, look, just because you have Ant-Man in it doesn't even have to be put in every other character that's associated with him, right?
Because they weren't in Civil War, right? Just Ant-Man.
Well, but for Hank wasn't in Civil War, but Wasp was in Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
right? Wasp was in Endgame, but you don't have to have every character associated with everyone. Otherwise, it just gets too crowded, whatever. And
It becomes a CW show,
But, I mean,
where they
listen-
all have to be there.
yeah, but I did think it was interesting that you had Ant-Man without Wasp. I did find that. I don't think you need to have Hank in there, even though I think Hank is actually one of the more fascinating characters in the MCU right now. I think one of the best episodes of What If was the What If episodes where Hank Pym took out all the Avengers.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because when you're the smartest guy in the room, you're a problem. And I thought that episode of What If, I didn't really like What If overall, but that one episode, they had a couple of really good ones, but I particularly really enjoyed that one where Hank Pym takes out the entire Avengers squad, basically. So, I mean, I like him a lot, but I don't think he needs to be in there, to be honest. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got a big one here. $75 tip from Mark Choi.
Oh, my joy.
What?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Says, hi, John. Have some dessert and drinks on me as you, Ray, Ann, and Cody and Rob will be hard at work reporting back to us during CinemaCon next week. Sorry you aren't going, Jonathan. Don't you ever go. We all expect nothing but the best. I'm the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
I'm
Listen,
the guy in the chair.
straight up. Was it 4 years now in a row?
Uh-huh.
I've asked Jonathan if he wants to go.
Yeah.
I offer him every year.
Yeah.
But Jonathan has more home commitments than many
What
of
I
the rest
don't
of us
tell
do.
John, and
The
I'm
big
telling
R
him
word.
now, is that every time they go to CinemaCon, I am exploring Inca like temples and I find
go on
things,
adventures?
I find things for museums. Yeah, it's really dangerous, but I always make it.
You discovered a dinosaur fossil last year, didn't you?
But you know, Jonathan's got family at home.
Yeah.
And it's tough to just up and take off out of
The
town.
big R.
For-
Responsibility.
Oh yeah, responsibilities. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I want to ask Ray what the big R word is, but yeah, okay, responsibility. He's got responsibilities, and it's very, very difficult to just uproot and leave out of town. Hell, I just have a wife at home, and it was hard for me to just up and leave town for 4 or 5 days. That's why Ann now comes with us.
I'm
to go to
researching
CinemaCon.
spiders in the Amazon. Yes, I am.
Polaroid cameras and taking detailed notes. All right, what's next?
All right.
And again, Mark, thank you. That's incredibly
Yeah,
generous
thank
of you,
you,
man.
Mark.
Thank you so much for supporting us on that level. And we will definitely have a drink on you. Thank you, man.
All
All
right.
right, what's next?
Early access screening says there's an early access screening for the Rami Malek movie, The Amateur, on April 5th at 6 o'clock. It's officially released as on April 11th, 6 days early. Man, I love these early screenings. Do you plan on going? Are you looking forward to it or even aware of it?
Again, going back to CinemaCon, dude, they showed us like a 10+ minute preview of that movie at CinemaCon last year. And I hadn't heard of it up until that point. And I'm like, sign me up. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this movie for a year. So, provided I didn't know they had, provided there are still tickets available. As soon as this show is done, I'm going to jump online and go get my tickets. Cause because we will be back from CinemaCon by then. So yeah, if they're having an early screening around me, I'm going to go see that for sure.
There you go.
All right, what's next?
We got Dante 2099 with a 3-parter. Not gonna lie, I'm super nervous about Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like anyone else, I got excited about the cast list for Doomsday. My personal trepidation is that Doomsday has to do so much heavy lifting, and I think the combination of story character may cause lasting issues. John, I know you believe RDJ was a brilliant choice for Doom, and I think he's a great actor, but without exaggeration, it has to work. The challenge of convincing the audience that RDJ is a completely different character may be the biggest swing Feige has ever taken. He looks forward. I look forward to them. But outside looking in, it seems like a lot to introduce RDJ's Doom on a shaky cinematic universe and bringing back OG X-Men while also possibly introducing the next X-Men. Thoughts?
I think everybody thinks all the time that it has so much to cover. It doesn't really have much. I mean, really think about it. And the whole thing about convincing like the audience that RDJ is now a completely different character, that's part of the story. That's part of it. That's literally a part of why this is a good idea. I think that's going to cause a lot of emotional conflict within the characters themselves, and he wants it to cause emotional conflict for the audience as well. It's really not that hard. I mean, look, when you think about the original Star Wars, again, I like to use this as a template, right? Now, wait a minute. You're going to do a Star Wars movie? Let's say Star Wars was a known property before George Lucas made the first movie, which of course it wasn't, but let's say it was. We're going to go, wait a minute. In one movie, you're going to introduce us to Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Han Solo and Princess Leia and R2 and 3PO. And Chewbacca.
No, that's too many characters.
I mean, and you've got to get us to a point where we understand that there has been this galactic government that was the Republic, and there's this whole political thing going on now where it's just being caught up and has been turned into a galactic empire.
Oh yeah, because the Senate was dissolved.
And now this
meeting.
emperor is dissolving the Senate, and they've built this massive space station, and they're destroying planets, and they've got to mount a rebellion, and they've got to... Like, how are you going to do all that in one movie? Well, they did it.
But that was the first movie. We're here working on an established 20,
Which
how
makes
many,
it
30,
easier.
30
Which makes
something
it
movies.
easier.
Because you know most of those people other
because
than
you
Doom.
already know most of these characters.
Right.
Other
But
than
I'm just saying a lot of
to do it.
the movie viewers, I think, have gotten a lot more intelligent. That's why we see a lot more criticism towards things like, because a lot of people like to point out things that fly over my head because I'm not one of the intelligent people. But I just think it's very hard to write something where everyone's satisfied or it all makes sense. There's always something like weird or something. It feels like with Marvel, there's always some thing that doesn't connect because they put themselves in this box, this Marvel box.
And that's fine. You can make a great movie where not everything connects, and that's fine too. Look, it's next to impossible. We always talk about this. It's next to impossible to make a great movie. Everybody thinks it's easy. It's not. It's nearly impossible. It's a Herculean task to make a great movie. This will be no different. It's going to be very, very difficult to make Avengers Doomsday a great movie. Just like anything else, it's going to be really hard to do it. But is it particularly hard to go? Not particularly hard. Is it going to take more time than they have to, hey, we have a new villain who just happens to look exactly like our old, like the face of Earth's greatest hero is now the face of Earth's greatest threat. I mean, that's great, but you can do that You can do it. That's not hard. You can do that in one scene, right? You can do that in one scene. I just think in our heads, we as fans, and I'm guilty of this too. I think we're all guilty of this. I think we as fans overinflate like how much it takes to accomplish something on screen. If you do it well, and that's a big if, but if you do it well and if you do it right, it can be done fairly quickly. Like I know there was a lot of people don't remember this now, but I remember going into Infinity War and Endgame, amongst all the excitement, a lot of people are like, how are you going to have a movie with all these characters? Well, they did it. How are you going to... So I really don't have... Let me put it this way. I don't have any additional trepidation going into Doomsday than I do for any other movie.
Oh.
Every movie has some trepidation. Right. Are you going to be able to execute? Are you going to be able to pull it off? Are you going to be able to put together a coherent story? That's a question going into every movie. But I have no reason to doubt that they're going to be able to pull it off.
I agree with the viewer about the how important it is for Robert Downey Jr. to work as Dr. Doom. For me, it's almost as important as Superman has to work too. Superman has to work, Dr. Doom has to work in order for these Avengers movies to actually succeed. Because if you don't have a villain that's a threat or something that we believe in or bite into, then what are we fighting against in these movies?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Traditionally, you've had some great Marvel movies without great villains, right? Like, I love the first Ant-Man. I think the first Ant-Man is a great Marvel film. Was Yellow Jacket that great of a villain?
No, but I'll tell you what he became later was...
Yeah, he joined the... I die an Avenger.
I'm not a dick.
I'm not a dick. I'm an Avenger. I mean, there have been great Marvel movies without great villains. This movie is a little bit different in that if you're going to do this move, if you're going to make this maneuver where you're pulling in Robert Downey Jr. to be Doom, I agree that almost more than any other element in this movie, that element has to work. Like, you're taking a big swing, you better make sure that this works. 100%. It's a vital thing for this movie to work. Anyway. All right, what's next?
All right. Captain BBC says, hello, Dreamweavers. Have you ever seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place? Imagine if you put The Office, ER, and X-Files in a blender. Stars Richard Ayoade and Matt Berry. Has a strong cult following, only 6 episodes. YouTube it. You're welcome.
I'll be honest with you, never heard of it. I've never heard of it.
No.
Is this a BBC one? Or
might be.
Because again,
6 episodes. That seems like a BBC story, like a season arc.
Now, did you see Matt Berry was in it?
Yes.
Of course, I love him in What We Do in the Shadows. Mm. But I've never heard of the series myself.
Dark Place. Interesting.
All right. What's next?
David, the new Zelda movie is officially coming out in March 2027.
Yes, it is.
Cannot wait to hear some Zelda music played in the theater. Unlike lots of people, I'm actually very excited they chose to make this live action. I have faith in Wes Ball. Loved his Apes movie.
I am with you. First of all, I think doing it live action was absolutely the right swing to take at this. I think of all the Nintendo games, this is the game that most lends itself to being a really beautiful live action film. And I think they've got a really good director on board for it. Again, when I saw what he did with the Planet of the Apes, again, I don't think it was the best Planet of the Apes movie out of the franchise, but I thought it was a really good one. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very enthusiastic for the film. I can't wait for it. All right, what's next?
Where's the bathroom? Says, are they still making a live-action Hercules? And what about a live-action take on The Road to El Dorado? Both of my favorite animations.
I don't know. I mean, I just remember years ago, the Russo brothers signed up to produce a live-action version of the animated Hercules movie. And now they're clearly fully swamped with MCU. They're going to be tied up in MCU for years. They can become producers in name only and hand off really everything to somebody else. But as of right now, I am not saying it isn't happening anymore. I'm just saying I haven't personally heard anything about it or its development in a while. So it still could be in the works. I'm just saying I haven't heard anything about it for a while, so I don't know. It's a good question. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, "Hey John, with RDJ getting 80 to 100 million salary for Doomsday, do you think this already affected casting some big names in this movie to keep budget under control? Chris Evans, Tom Holland, Benedict, Elizabeth Olsen, Mark Ruffalo will need maybe another 100 million altogether."
I don't believe that he's getting $100 million for Doomsday. He might get $100 million for Doomsday and Secret Wars. I don't think he's getting, again, I don't take that as definitive. I'm just saying from where I'm sitting right now, I don't believe that's true, but who knows? It's Hollywood. Anything's possible, but I don't think he's getting $100 million for Doomsday. I don't think he's going to get a bigger single salary than what you could pay everybody else. So anyway, that aside, these are going to be expensive movies, man. These are going to be expensive movies.
They may have to take a loan from Netflix.
And listen, these are a loan from Netflix. These are movies that you can kind of justify higher expense because these are ones where the starting box office is going to be $1 billion. The starting box office is going to be $1 billion. And it'll only go up from there. Maybe $2 billion. Like nobody in their right mind doesn't think Doomsday will make $1 billion at the box office, right? Is there anybody that doesn't think Avengers is going to join the $1 billion club? I don't think you're going to find a single sane person that doesn't. The question is going to be how much over $1 billion will it make? And when you know beyond any shadow of a doubt that your movie is going to make at least $1 billion, you can be a little more loose on the purse strings. You still want, you don't want to spend too much because you're eating into your profits after that, but you can be a little bit more loose on your purse strings when you hear it. But it is going to be an expensive film, man. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, "Here's a prediction, John. Superman will be the best comic book movie of the year by far, both critically and box office wise. Will be $1 billion movie and will get more money than Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four combined."
Nonsense. I would love it if that were true. Now, I think it has a shot of being the best comic book movie of the year. I don't see Superman making $1 billion. Not the first one. Too many people are still completely turned off by the fiasco that was the DCEU. Like everybody just forgets that the entire movie-going audience abandoned the DC brand. Everybody just forgets that and thinks it just goes away overnight. It doesn't. DC is going to have work to do, and Superman is a big, important part of that work. To win the audience back over, it's going to take a little time. But hey, listen, I would love to be wrong about this. I would love to come out of CinemaCon having seen Superman, maybe, or going, oh my God, this is going to make all the money. I would love that. But I just, no matter how good Superman is, I do not believe it is going to be $1 billion film, no matter how good it is. I think its ceiling is 600 to 700 million. I think that is the highest ceiling it has. Now, then after that, and if the movie is great, then you're going to see DC movies start to make more money. And then the $1 billion club becomes very reachable. But they've first got to put out a really good movie that the audiences and the critics love, because they certainly have not done that so far. And they're going to need to do it. So there's work to do still. All right, what's next?
156 Impulse says, "Hi, everyone. If anyone is interested in the prayer that Daredevil says in the last episode, it's the prayer of St. Eve. Love, born again."
I am loving Born Again. Again, everybody knows I had my doubts. I had my apprehensions going into it because of the things that the showrunner was saying. I'm like, oh no, I don't know if this guy gets Daredevil. But he's completely redeemed it. He's completely won me over. I am loving this show. I count down to Tuesdays now, man. I count down to Tuesdays every week. All right, what's next?
CJ says, "In lieu of Severance, we're reviewing the innie versions of John C., Jonathan V., and Ray O. What do the Audi versions behave like? Do you think your Audi would be more outgoing, fun, reserved, awkward, intelligent, lazy, etc.? Just curious." Well, when I'm not returning artifacts to museums, I'm pretty much just like this.
Yeah.
Or kicking puppies.
Yeah.
No, apparently,
Those
listen.
puppies are
I think my Audi would be playing Rainbow Six and
outer
not
space.
doing anything else. Rainbow Six Vegas.
Have you been playing
Xbox
Rainbow
Live.
Six?
No, I just
Rainbow Six Vegas, isn't that like 15
I'm
years
sorry.
old.
As more of these games come out, I just miss the old strategic.
I can tell.
One shot, realistic. You really have to take cover and plan your then running at you and just shooting like a million bullets.
'Cause
I just miss the
literally,
older games.
The only game I ever see you playing when I walk into your house is NBA. That's the
I
only game I ever see
love-
you playing.
Yeah, I love Rainbow Six Vegas. Just that series. That was my favorite. Series.
Do you just play the game, or do you play it with
Online?
So
It has to be online.
there's still an audience for that game, huh?
No. I haven't. That's why I'm saying I miss it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think they don't make games like that anymore.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay. AK Himada says, I know it's still early 2024, but Noah Wyle may be snatching up an Emmy nomination after his incredible performance in last night's episode of The Pit. They meant 25.
I haven't seen the last episode because last night, I went to see Death of a Unicorn. Ann and I went to dinner, had to watch the season finale of Reacher, which, by the way, Reacher, #1 on the streaming charts again. #1 on the stream. Actually, let me just bring this up quick. I won't talk about it tomorrow because we don't have a show tomorrow. Oh, that's the wrong. I lost. What? Huh? I had it. Wait a second.
What'd you have?
What are you talking about? What's that going on?
I had.
We needed technical difficulties.
Yeah, and now it's gone. Anyway,
Describe it for us then.
I had a graphic of the streaming chart for. Yeah, okay, there. I found it again.
Right.
And
I just noticed our server was down, and then it just went back on right now. That's why you couldn't find it.
No, it disappeared off my desktop. Anyway, there it is, right at the top of the streaming chart. Reacher. Good for them. Good. I don't think it was their best season. I don't think it was Reacher's best season, to be honest with you. I still liked it. Like I enjoyed this season of Reacher. I did. But it's probably out of the 3 seasons, my 3rd favorite season. Still really liked it though. And again, it continues to be a big hit for Amazon. So congrats to them. But what was the question? What brought me onto Reacher? I didn't get to see The Pit last night. Listen, even though I haven't seen last night's episode of The Pit, Noah Wiley's getting an Emmy nomination. Like, I feel pretty certain about that Noah Wyle is going to get an Emmy nomination for this. This show has been great. I've been really enthusiastic about it. All right, what's next?
Cody Hunt says, saw Death of a Unicorn last night. Fun movie, good humor. It's the most movie that Jurassic Parked without Jurassic Park in the title.
You know what? I saw so many people have sent me comments since I did my out of the theater reaction to it that it's like, I never once thought Jurassic Park. Like, so many people said it's got a Jurassic Park feel. And so I just must be the only person that didn't get that because everybody is saying that to me. But I never once got any Jurassic Park vibes myself. But you're not alone, man. Like everybody else is saying that to me too. So I was probably the only one that didn't pick up on that. All right, what's next?
Okay, Cody Hunt Film says they just revealed that both the first 2 episodes of the studio were shot with one lens, a 21 millimeter. They do really long takes in the show, so it's not surprising they keep the wide field of view. I wonder if they'll continue that. It's hard to say, but that was the first. Okay, episode 2 was definitely one lens because it was a one take. In episode 1, you could tell all those like panning shots back and forth. There wasn't a cut, so it was one shot for those like super close shots.
Episode 1 had a number of one shot, one take scenes.
Yeah.
Episode 2, the entire episode was one shot.
Yep.
One continuous, no edits shot.
And it was ingenious.
It's amazing.
It was ingenious how they crossed space because what they used was the monitor of the camera guys outside on the actress by the pool. So it made you feel like, wait, was there a cut? No, because they were just looking at the monitor and then panning away.
And the episode literally, the cameraman literally has to be sitting
he was like at a mount
on the hood of Seth Rogen's car as it's driving because he's filming the guys in the car. Then they park and he like steps off the car.
Yeah, he steps off and goes
and
with
just
him.
follows. Like it's a full episode, one continuous shot.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I had to go back and
kudos to all the performers. Yeah. Everybody had to always be on their mark, always know their lines. It was amazing. It's such a great thing.
That goes for even like the people who were supposed to be the PAs in the background. That all had to be coordinated.
Yep.
If you were walking by with a bowl of fruit, that had to be timed and coordinated. So
good.
Okay, let's see. Cody Hunt. No, yeah, Cody Hunt. Wow, the newest episode of Severance that released last night was incredible. That marching band orgy was inspired, and I can't believe they revealed it was all Mark's dream.
That was last week.
Yeah.
That was last week. Maybe you only got caught up last night. What is it? The Department of Choreography and Merriment.
Yeah. Right. They always have the greatest names.
The Department of Choreography and again,
merriment.
just kind of redouble down that Mr. Milchick, or Milchek, however they pronounce
Milchek,
it,
yeah,
is my
Milchek.
favorite character in the series. He's my absolute favorite character in the series. All right, what's next?
Okay, Kevin Ostrander says, has anything been said about Ghost Rider and Doomsday Secret Wars? Any news on the Spawn movie? Spawn movie ain't happening. Nothing on Ghost Rider.
Stop trying. I feel like we're in Mean Girls. Stop trying to make a
Ghost
Spawn
Rider,
movie happening.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make a Spawn movie happen. They've been trying for 5 years now, 6 years.
I hear it has a director. That was a joke.
I think he finally said he won't direct.
Oh, wow.
I think he finally realized, because what's the creator's name?
Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane. Because remember, Todd McFarlane's been trying for like 5 years. He announced, we're making a Spawn movie, and I got Jamie Foxx, and I got Jeremy Renner, and all, and I'm going to direct it myself. The guy who's never directed anything. I'm going to direct it myself. I think he finally realized. I for some reason he thought, and I don't like speaking ill because he's a good Canadian kid.
He's a nice guy. I like him.
But like, he comes across like he was under the impression that studios were just going to line up and throw money at him to make this movie, and nobody did. And I think he finally clued in. He kept insisting he was going to direct it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I might be wrong about this, but if I'm not mistaken, I think he finally realized nobody was going to give him money to make this movie if he was directing it. So I think they're at a point now where he's acknowledged he's not going to direct it, but I don't know. I don't know that this thing's ever going to happen. As far as Ghost Rider, I don't expect to see Ghost Rider in anything for a while. I really don't.
I'm looking forward to Spider-Man Noir, though, with Nick Cage.
I think that's going to be fun. That's going to be an Amazon thing, right?
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, so we got some member questions here. So our members can always send in questions free of charge. King Daddy Goat says, hey, crew, just so you guys know, Florence Pugh has been stuck in my head since yesterday. Now I really want to see cast reveal the way John explained it. Thanks for all you do. Have a great weekend. You know, to be fair, though, John didn't say that. The chat said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who weren't on the yesterday's show, when people say, oh my God, you see how many people watch that video? It's like they were announcing the cast of Doomsday. I said they literally could have had a dog slowly walk into a white frame, squat, take a big shit on the floor, walk away, and the camera goes in tight on the shit and have carved out in the thing Channing Tatum. And then wait 10 minutes and then have another dog walk out, take another shit with somebody's name. I said that would have gotten the same amount of views.
It's a completely different stool than they had in mind.
Maybe a different stool. Maybe even more views. I mean, they literally did the thing that got they literally got the least amount of views they could have got for a 5.5 hour stream. Yeah, they could have done anything they got that many views. A lot of things they could have done that would have gotten more views. But again, the views is not the important thing. The important thing is to create buzz and hype for the movie. They could have created equal or more buzz and hype for the movie if they just had Kevin Feige come out on a stage with a microphone and in a 1 hour stream, make the announcement of each person with their images come up, maybe a couple of them walk out, whatever. And they would have gotten way more buzz and more attention. But anyway, it is what it is. I even put up a poll.
Yeah.
We had 10,000 people respond to it. 86% said they would have preferred and would have watched more if it was just a 1 hour presentation of Kevin Feige just sitting there with a microphone announcing the cast. 10,000 voters, 86% they would have said they would have preferred that.
You should have done another one that says that, what they did, or nothing.
Yeah.
As well, just to see.
Or even put out a press. Listen, they could have just put out a press release,
Right.
and it would have gotten the same amount of people buzzing and talking. Anyway, what's up?
All right. B3N says, no question, but the second episode of Studio was hilarious.
So good.
My only thing about it was I just felt like, oh man, I don't like his character in this episode at all. And I liked his character in the first. So I hope his character is more that he was very neurotic on set, but his character is more like it was in episode 1 going forward. But yeah, other than that,
He is the Michael Scott character of the show.
I just made it
Means well.
I know, but he's intelligent, and this one made him seem like he wasn't.
But it was his first time
he was
being
and
getting
he's
those.
fanboying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I
He's
guess.
also like he's such a. It's consistent because one of the things the show has really introduced is that he's just such a lover of movies,
Yeah.
and he's fanboying.
Speaking to that, I love that scene where he's at drawing a
Charlize
blank.
Theron's.
No, I'm drawing. Well, that was great, but I'm drawing a blank. He was at her home in episode 1. She was crying.
Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had that really nice moment where they're out on that patio. And he's talking
and what
about
a view!
the view and how he's talking about his love for movies
Yeah.
and stuff. I love that scene.
I love that, but also, you know what really pushed episode 2 over for me? Sarah Polley.
Ah, yeah.
You as her frustration just slowly grows more and more till
Yeah.
finally at the end, get
Yeah.
the fuck off my
Yeah.
like it's
And she tried to be so sweet, like, no, actually, your input is really.
Oh,
She's
she's
so good.
really because she was
She
being
wanted-
sweet to get money.
Yeah.
well, sure.
She was saying
sure.
all the things just for one goal in mind.
But then it just
She
her
lost it.
frustration built so much by the end. Oh my god.
Now every time I see we get like first images from the set of something, and I see one of the photos be of like the director and like let's say
That's
either
all you're
the
gonna think
actor.
about.
Right. That's all I'm thinking about.
The
is that director.
callback of the parked vehicle was so great. It was
Oh, it was so good.
Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
All right.
right.
What's next?
All right, Jolatona says just got done watching episode 13 of The Pit. If Emmys were today, I'd give it each one to The Pit and Wiley. Also, did you know the actress who plays Dr. Mel King is Bryan Cranston's daughter? See you guys at CinemaCon. Yes, someone said that earlier this week.
Someone
That Dr. King was Bryan Cranston's daughter
I didn't realize
in real life.
that.
Yeah.
Somebody brought that up, and I'm like, I had no idea. Had no idea. But I do know this: the head nurse, because somebody else brought this up the other day. The head nurse, like the head of the nursing station, and everything in the Pit, is one of the city officials in Daredevil who talks down to Kingpin.
Oh yeah,
Like, you may have the seat at the table, but we're the ones who decide who gets to eat. Like, they say, oh my God, she's dressing down Kingpin. Yeah, it's good to see her in there.
yeah.
All right.
And
We got time for just a couple more.
All right, couple more then. Fetz Hand says, hi, crew. I would like to know what you think about Kingpin's jacket tearing or tore. Is he bulking, getting stronger, or is he gaining weight due to stress, cracks in his power, or the cracking of his mask symbolism? Love to know your thoughts.
I honestly have no idea. I mean, look, I'm just being honest. When it happened, it's like, clearly this is meaningful.
Right.
Like, he puts on his jacket and the jacket tears. Like, oh,
Yeah,
my
he's
Lord.
becoming a monster.
But I don't know though, and I don't honestly have a real working theory as to why or what the relevance is.
Well,
clearly it is symbolic and clearly it is relevant. I just don't really know what it is
he
yet.
was eating super light in those early episodes. Remember, he was like barely eating when he did eat.
Oh yeah, he's having asparagus
And then when
egg
he's
whites.
down in his dungeon, he's eating like all that heavy food. So, yeah, it could just be like symbolism of it.
But he's smaller than he was in the Netflix
Oh,
series.
for sure.
No,
The
no,
actor's
definitely.
lost-
He's lost some weight as
Yeah,
an
the actor
actor,
lost
as a
weight.
person. Yeah, he's lost some
For
weight.
sure.
But maybe he's stress eating. Maybe the stress of the job is getting to him.
Or-
He's eating too much.
Or
now.
it could go down to that line that the lady said. We decide who eats, and he's just eating everything without them knowing.
There you go.
But he tore the jacket before she said that.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, what's
All right,
next?
Alan says, hey, Campea crew, I know Marvel's getting a lot of criticism for their marketing lately. I give them credit for their marketing on Thunderbolts. It made me pumped for Thunderbolts.
Have they been getting a lot of crap for their marketing?
I don't know. Other than just like recently for this thing, I feel like their marketing's been pretty good.
say what you want about Thunderbolts. I don't care. I'm seeing it. I'm gonna watch it.
Everybody's saying the Thunderbolts marketing is great. I mean,
okay.
and it is. The Thunderbolts marketing is fantastic. I'm so excited for this movie. Listen, even the movie I didn't like Captain America 4, which I don't think is a very good movie.
They over marketed that thing too.
but I think they
They had to.
I mean, yeah, like people said they shouldn't have had Red Hulk in it. They absolutely needed to have Red Hulk in those trailers.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise,
for
I don't
sure.
think anybody would have gone
No,
to see
no,
the
no, no.
movie.
I was fine with that, but there was just so many of them.
Yeah,
They needed
they
Blue Hulk,
did.
Yellow
They
Hulk.
maybe over-marketed, maybe, but I still thought the marketing itself was pretty good.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a very good movie, unfortunately. All right, last question of the day.
All
What's
right, we
next?
got, and coincidentally, it is the last question. Terrence Fisher Superman says, "What are the chances that Nicole Kidman comes on stage at CinemaCon to do a talk, and she begins with, 'We come to this place'?" I hope.
I've been wanting
I
that.
truly hope so.
I've actually been wanting that,
Here's the thing.
to be honest.
If they had done that last year,
Yeah.
it would have been funny. This now
it's
a
triggering.
year later,
Now it's just
nobody
triggering.
cares. No,
I would still love to see it done live.
I wouldn't. Maybe
We
a year
haven't
and a
had
half
that.
ago,
Oh, yeah.
maybe. But the joke's done now. I get nothing but frustration every time that fucking spot plays.
At this point, it'd be better like as a spoof on the Academy Awards next year or something like that. I don't know.
But and plus, remember, none of the other movie theater chains are going to think
Right.
that's funny.
And have her and Machete come up there to then. Danny Trejo.
Just
Because
for
he
that.
does the Regal ones, which
Oh,
are
does
just
he?
as
That's right.
bad.
Yeah, they're pretty bad too, to
Wow.
be honest with you. Not as bad. But you know, maybe I only think it's that the Nicole Kidman one
Because
is
we
worse
go
because
to it
I've seen it
way
so many
more.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, especially Mark, who sent in like a $75 one.
Yeah,
Thank
Mark
you.
Choi.
For all you guys for sending in the support. Number one, because you gave us fun, interesting things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Again, guys, next week, it's my favorite week of the year doing this job. It's CinemaCon week. We are going to be coming to you from Las Vegas. Hopefully our internet connection in the hotel isn't too bad. Looking forward to having you guys join us for that. Keep your guys' eyes open on the channel because not only are we doing live streams, we're also going to be popping up short little videos here and there. Just maybe some interesting things we're seeing, the sights and sounds of CinemaCon. Hope you guys plan on joining us during the week. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora.
Yeah, it's time for me to get denied at the Coca-Cola room, like once again, like I always do.
You never got denied at the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, there's a Coca-Cola room. It's the very first room that after we check in, they have, looks like they have a whole bunch of food in there. And I always go to the front door. I'm like, do you need to have a special pass to go? Yeah, you have to be with Coca-Cola or something.
Oh, too bad. I've never seen it. Also, Jonathan Voico.
All right, guys. See you later.
And big thanks again to you guys. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.